Welcome everyone to see the Art Meet the Artisan. Today I'd like to welcome Cinnamon Callins. And she's currently at the Art Accelerator. She's a fellow at the Art Accelerator program at Gallery 123. Her art is Asian Japanese inspired pottery. And she graduated Berea College in 2017. And we are going to get to know her a little better today. So everyone, please welcome Cinnamon.
Hello, welcome. So to begin, I would like to start by talking about how I made my way here to Gallery 123 and to living in Kentucky and coming all the way from Birmingham, Alabama. So I'd like to start in Birmingham, where I took my art classes. I was so inspired by art because when I was younger, I used to love to read books that had really colorful illustrations, and I got into Japanese culture when I was younger. So then I started to just draw, and I drew and I drew, and I made little books and I illustrated, and I just always started off with painting, coloring, drawing. I had went through the robotics program, and that's when I got into the design team in high school. So in high school, that's really where my art began to flourish as a painter and a drawer. I took an art class where my teacher saw so much interest and so much inspiration in me that she thought that it would be great to start putting me in competitions. So from there, I've just kept on going. The more artist competitions that I did, the more designs things that I did in that art class, the more enthralled I became interested in just pointing my life in the direction of being an artist. So on the robotics team, when I was doing design, I would paint the robots, I would design the robots, and that was my first hands-on experience with design, and especially using technology. Because not only would I create these things, but I got to assemble them, put them together, and see how they formed and functioned. And I thought for a while that I was going to be going into engineering and working on design in that aspect, but as I kept going and I got into college, I decided that maybe I could be more open to the artistic expressions that I'm interested in. So, as a freshman in college, I decided to take my first ceramics course, and that was really different for me because I had been a painter, a drawer, but I've never been a sculptor. 3D artwork was not really my thing. So when I was able to take my first arts class in Berea College as a freshman in college, I took it with this man named Philip Wiggs. He's a really well-renowned artist, and he works currently at Berea College. So I really needed a class, and I needed to get in, and I just had to constantly ask him, like, hey, can you get me in? He's like, maybe not this semester, but I said, please. And then he finally let me in, and then when I finally got my hands into the clay, boy, I just fell in love with it. It was something completely different. The only sculptural things I may have done were pipe cleaners, maybe a little bit of the popsicle sticks and glue, but nothing quite like this. So I went through the trial and error my first year being a freshman and also being a brand new ceramic artist. And I was actually the second to last person in my class to learn how to properly pull up a wall. And so I have some technical terms in the presentation. So what I mean by pulling up a wall, if you were to look at, say, something like this, what would normally be the wall is the side of your base, the foot is the very bottom, and the top, if this was, say, like a cup, that would be the lip. So what I mean by pulling up a wall is when you are throwing, you have your outside hand, which is your predominant hand, your inside hand, and which is just going to be your stability hand, and you're basically pushing and pulling up the clay. So learning that skill for me, for some reason, was very difficult. And I ended up having to take a little bit more time to learn how to do that. But after that first course, after my first semester and that first course, I never had to take another ceramics course because I just was so in love with it. I kept practicing. And at Berea College, if you do not know, everyone has to have a job. You can't be at Berea College without a job. So when I got done with my first year, I was able to transfer from being a sales associate at the Log House Craft Gallery to being an apprentice for under Philip J. Wade. And it was an amazing experience. There, I learned how to do production pottery. And I learned how to maintain my work, build a schedule, and try to focus on improving my flaws and also expressing my creativity. So there, I learned how to make mugs. I learned how to make bowls, plates. I even was on a picture assignment. You know, the lemonade pictures that you bring out for your family in the summertime. And from there, I wanted to continue to do that and thrive. So I worked there for approximately 3 years, and I still have some of my items from there. It was only after I had graduated where I was able to learn how to do more sculptural things on my own that I started to get into sculpting with a variety of personality. When I was there at Berea College, everything has to be standard and set accordingly. But when I was out and I was able to make my own items, I took that and ran with it and tried to be as creative and vividly fun as possible. So if you know, going to the Log House Craft Gallery or going to some of the shops here in Berea, there is a certain aesthetic and look to the pottery. They use cone tin stoneware, and they also try to use natural or very earth-rich colors, earth-tone colors. However, I use a cone 6 stoneware. It's really common. It's more available to me, and so that's why I choose to use that kind of stoneware. And not only that, I choose to use white stoneware. So the color on this, it's really just like the natural body, the natural color of the clay body. So, and you can even hold it. We can pass it around if you would like. Would you like to hold it? Yes. And you can feel it, really interact with it. My clay and my pieces are actually quite durable. I chose to stay within the realm of stoneware because it's less fragile. I chose white stoneware because I love vivid colors. I like to be exciting. I like to make sure that all of my things have as much personality as I do. Seeing as how I like color as well. So I typically had to learn how to sculpt on my own, and I had to learn how to throw the pieces that I want to throw and go through trial and error to figure out what exactly it is that I wanted to do. So what you all are passing around right now, I can take that. What you all are passing around right now is one of my planters. This is a hanging indoor, outdoor planter. And I can pass it back to her. So what I normally do with those kind of planters is I hang them in my room, and on the other, I send some home to Alabama, where my grandmother hangs them on her front porch, and she puts bird seeds in them. She puts flowers in them because they're specifically for succulents. And how I came to that form was that I was looking for things that I wanted to create, but that I had never created before. So I basically did some research to try to figure out what can I do to push the limits of my skills as an artist right now? Because my ultimate goal is to be a pottery master, or someone who's really proficient in pottery. But I need to, in order to do that, I have to get out of my comfort zone of just bowls and plates and things that are easy to produce. So this form, it starts off, believe it or not, it starts off as one solid egg. And I trap air on the inside, so I don't have to carve it. I don't have to go out and hollow it out. It's just a large grouping of air. And then what I do, I will poke a hole in the top and throw on top of it its little swirl. I have some mouse planters and it looks like a little hair swirl. And then I'll go back and I'll cut a hole around it. So everything that I make up here is handmade. And after that, I will add some decorations, maybe some glaze that is like reflective. I will try to get as creative as possible. So moving on to this, I started a series of vases that have lips. I was really, what inspired me for this one was there's Dolce and Gabbana incident that happened where they had put out a sweater that was imitating Black features. And so it was calling back to a time where it was really acceptable to wear blackface and red lips and say, this is a Black person, and put out stereotypical monologue. So what I was doing was I was trying to take the jab kind of out of that, and it inspired me to create a series that is completely dark skinned with full lips and very colorful features. So even, it's a little heavy, and you can feel it. You can turn it around. There's also some designs on the back. My artwork is it can be political, it can be fun and vibrant, and it can be themed on Japanese culture, but mainly, my art is an expression of who I am as an individual. So I'm very political. I am very in the know with things. And I'm also someone who enjoys having a good time and seeing things that are vivid and vibrant and beautiful. But sometimes making statements with my work is more of a necessity than there's more of a necessity than just for fun. So, going on to my other things, I have a vase. I call these my sprinkle vases. I won't pass this one around. There's nothing much going on with it, but most of my work, if they're not political, then they're really inspired from me and my childhood. I call this my sprinkle vase because I thought about, first of all, the form. I wanted all of my forms have some sort of femininity to them because I'm the voluptuous woman. And then on top of that, the colors are really more representative of me and my childhood because it's like, when you think of this, I think of birthday cakes and happiness and joy. And when I think of this, it's like a stark contradiction to sometimes how I feel as an adult, which is more serious, a little dark, a little mysterious. So it's more push and pull. The cat planters, there actually is a little friend that it has, which is a mouse version of this one. I don't have that with me today because I need to make more. They're really a hot seller. But I made that because I was trying to figure out, like, I haven't seen a lot of different planters that are too whimsical. A lot of them are geometrical, they will be really colorful, but I wanted something that was completely different. And I wanted to see, can plants grow in double-sided objects? So this is actually, these are fake plants right here. But my one at home, it actually does have soil. You can put plant food in it, and it does have a hole in the bottom so that the plants can breathe. And I have it perched in my window, and it's actually a double-sided planter with a cat sitting on a donut. The rhyme or reason to the cat sitting on the donut, there really isn't one. It's just something whimsical and beautiful and fun. And this right here is an incense burner. And let me take the lid off of that. I was really going for a theme with my incense burners when I first started making them. I called them canifiers. I was looking up lit incense burners from, I think, Thailand. And some of them had metallic details and holes in them. So I wanted to emulate that, but with my own twist to it. So I put color features, I put fire features on it. And if you look on the inside, it can actually hold more than one incense stick. And it's also dual purpose because it can hold spiral incense burners, it can hold backflow cone incense burners. I really wanted, because I am a spiritual person and that's how I like to pray, I really wanted to have multiple incense options for people who wanted to pray or use them for multiple reasons. So a lot of my things are very colorful because I like to see the look on people's faces when they look at my work and then they see something so vibrant that it makes them smile. Because I know when I look at artwork, sometimes I want to feel a range of emotions, but with my work in particular, I want it to be less serious. I want it to be whimsical. I purposefully make things like this because it just brings out a better side of people. When they get to see my work and we get to have a conversation about it and, oh, well, I would like to send this to my niece, my nephew, someone who's going to college. I really enjoy hearing the conversations about people and their personal lives because when they come and look at my work, they think I know someone who will love this. And in conclusion, my artwork is very much so a representation of me, very much so inspired by Asian culture. But overall, it is very much for everyone else. Thank you.
Cinnamon, you're just graduating from the accelerator program, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Last week was the last week of our class being there.
Okay. What's next for you?
Well, what is next for me is I want to continue to supplement my work. As of right now, I am kind of figuring out how to go about doing what I want to do and surviving on my own. So, what I am trying to do is work out of Bobtown and also make YouTube videos because when you make those videos, they have a thing called monetization, so you can get paid through advertisements. And I wanted to have kind of like steady income. It takes about 3 months to reach a certain status if you're consistent. So basically, I'm trying to reach through social media more people and get influencers to come and see my work and put my work out there. It's kind of like a work and you're creating work while marketing all at the same time. So that's kind of my next steps.
Okay.
Since you have hiring too. Will you have workshops?
Workshops. I applied to work at Mudworks, who has the facilities for workshops. So that's what I would like to do. If I'm hired on there, then I'll be able to advertise, hey, I have workshops, come learn with me. I've actually taught ceramics beforehand. I teach adults how to do level 1 pottery. And when I did it at this place called Make Birmingham in Birmingham, Alabama, it was a 3-step process. So the first class you would throw, the second class, in between that you would fire, and then after that, the second class you would glaze, and then there would be another firing, the third class. Second class was trimming, another firing, and then the third class was glazing, another firing, and then you would have your finished product. So I really enjoyed doing that. It was a job that I had before coming to here. So I would love to do that again.
And I would also, I feel badly because I wish we had audio of all of the people that have remarked on your work in the display case.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's because it is different and it brings joy to people. And they're just like, oh my goodness, look at that, and they talk about it a lot. It is a little different than what you typically see in Berea. So.
Thank you. I'm really happy that even with the political things going on in the accelerator program, I am very much so happy that I got into this program, because I think as I talk to people realize, hey, you can also do this. I'd like to point out that I was the second to the last person in a class of 15 people, I believe, to learn how to throw. So we all start from somewhere. I like to encourage people. I like to say, I'm still learning as well. I still make mistakes on my work. I have a lot of failures, but the successes, I will show proudly, because through all of the failures, there is a success. And with the success, you should never be afraid to confidently show that.
You're not failing, that's just, it's not failures, it's learning.
Right.
Lessons learned. Yes.
On the lip vase, on the back of that vase is a very intricate pattern.
Mhm.
How did you go about creating that?
Well, I think I draw my own patterns, and so what I was doing was I was focusing on symmetry, because in this side is asymmetrical, and on this side is very symmetrical. So I like to do push and pull with my work. So when I was drawing, I was thinking, how can I get the coils to do what I would like them to do? So what I did was I would take bigger chunks of clay, roll them down, separate them out, and then roll them again. So believe it or not, each chunk of clay was the same length and thickness, or as close to possible, as close to each other as possible. And I would take them and I would curl one side and then try to mirror the other.
So you did it all by hand. It wasn't a mold or anything. It's amazing.
No. Everything I have is by hand. It takes a lot of practice and patience and just going over it and learning, doing it over and over again. And that's what I think that's important to say. It's just like, I don't get it right the first time.
Is your work available at any of the stores around here now that you're leaving the program?
Well, not so much. Well, I think I'm going to keep some work at Gallery 123 because they are offering that to me. So I'm going to keep that available so people can come and see them in person, because I do realize that people love to see stuff online, but there's also an entire market of people that love to come and touch and and look at things in person. So I will keep my stuff at Gallery 123.
Good.
Thank you.
Is there a certain social media that you'll be using in the future that you can tell this audience about that will also be recorded?
Mm-hmm.
So to maybe look out for, if you can't find my art locally,
Mm-hmm.
here's where I should be in the future.
Okay. So if you can't find it here at in Berea at Gallery 123, then I do have my own website. The name of my business, and I forgot to say this, the name of my business is Iliation Studios. It's IASION studios.com. And the way I came out with my name was, I was originally trying to figure out how to make a really cool YouTube name. I wanted something that sticks around and is kind of memorable, so I was like, well, Illegal Sin. I have no idea why that, but I was like, well, maybe something a little bit more feminine and dainty, and I was like, Elation. And then eventually it worked its way down to Iliation Studios.
Is there a web address?
Yes.
Say that again.
Iliationstudios.com. And I also do have social media. You can type in my name, Cinnamon Callins. Iliation Studios should pop up. So ILLIASION studios.com. And that is a really vibrant website to look at. It's definitely not the average minimalist kind of website. I love color and information. I try to be, through and through. If there's any more questions? Sure.
So we think about the short-term future of where you're going to go next, but what's the big goal? What's the big dream?
The big dream. I can tell you that for certain. What I want to do is I want to have kind of like what my mentor Larry Allen has. He has his own studio space and he does classes. What I want to do is back at home in Birmingham, Alabama, I want to have classes that adults can come to, but also I want to create like a place where students can come to for free. So like I come from the inner cities of Birmingham, Alabama. I come from the more impoverished area of Birmingham. And so what I noticed is that there's a lot of frustrated people, there's a lot of hate crimes that go around, and when I mean a hate crime, it's more of like a person on person, people on each other kind of crimes. And so what I want to do is try to get people to see more beautiful things and to get outside of their everyday, their average, and maybe try to do what I did with my art, which is to try to find peace and joy through directing anger at something else other than your brother or your sisters that are around you. So my big goal is to have my own personal studio, working kiln, and several wheels where I can give students ages through middle school, high school, and different age groups for free, while people can come and pay, and basically that money could go towards the studio or go into a pot where I can continue to give these free classes.
Aw.
That's one of my big goals.
Well, you sound like a beautiful soul, and it shows in your art.
Thank
and
you.
Your future goals are.
There's also endless grants out there. You know how to grant write.
I'm learning how to properly do that, so I'm in the process of learning that. But my also big goal is to create a line of glazes. I have a few glazes that I had mixed and made on my own, and I really love them. I still have a recipe, I ran out of them, but I want to create my own line of glazes in order to supplement a few things, or just to be able to have a larger variety of vibrant colors and unusual things that that I can learn how to use in my own art. So that's my second goal.
So when are you moving back to Alabama?
Well, I thought about that, and I thought maybe I could move back in a few months, or maybe after this year. It's really all depending on job security and finding another place to throw, because I do not want to stop my artwork. Right now, I'm currently working out of Bobtown, which is 16 minutes outside of Berea, and it's a communal ceramic place.
I've heard of that.
So, yeah, so that's where I am right now, and they do it for free, which I enjoy and I'm so grateful for. But if I could find that back home in Birmingham, it would, number one, be very easy for me to set up back there, because I'm already living there, and I can get like paperwork going, and so it's really all dependent on that and job.
So we'll miss you, just to let you know.
I will miss you as well, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much.
I think that's myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and it's been wonderful talking to you all about my work.